So a challenge here for Joe Grello of Rutgers, the redshirt junior from Newton, New Jersey, has had a little bit of a slow start this year, coming back from an injury, going up against Hall, the senior from Apple Valley, Minnesota, suburban Minneapolis. Perfect record this year of 13-0. The three-time All-American. Team score now 17-6 after the pin by Vincenzo Joseph. This is a spot here with 3 more weight classes to follow. For Grello, if he can keep it to a decision, granted he's the underdog here against Hall, that would be a good thing for Rutgers.
I think that's something that that Mark has really stepped up this year. Is just similar to some of the guys we talked about earlier. Is he's got some of the best defense that we maybe have seen in college wrestling in a long time. You know, he can from a technician standpoint, I think he's probably the best technician in college wrestling. I mean, he's rarely ever out of position, but he doesn't. Sometimes he hasn't always put himself into enough scoring positions. Where this year he's really taken on, as Nick Lee's done on the lower weights, I feel like Mark has done on the upper weights, kind of taken on that leadership role, been scoring bonus points consistently and making some differences. As Penn State's had some different lineups with injuries and things to that effect. So it's been he's been exciting to see him kind of open up his offense, and he's got a lot of scoring capability.
With that, as you talk about depth and how guys improve, or in the case of Joseph and Hall, became the first 2 freshmen for the Nittany Lions to win national championships. What is different in the wrestling room at Penn State from everywhere else?
I think it's full of a lot of competitors. There's rarely easy takedowns given up in practice. Guys are constantly challenging each other. They're excited to want to be in practice and want to constantly get better. And I think when you get out here and in front of Rec Hall, in front of 6,000 people, just kind of speaking from experience of when I wrestled at Penn State, is just you want to put together your best performance. And in doing that, you're going to become a better wrestler. You're going to have expectations for yourself to be the best in the country.
And it's not for everybody. We saw just within the last week at 125 pounds, Brody Teske transferred to Northern Iowa, came here, but he's a guy who's from Iowa, has high school teammates on that UNI team, and it wasn't the right fit.
It just sometimes that happens. You want to go somewhere, and there's this factors. Again, we got to always remember that when we're watching college athletics, is these are still kids. They're still making decisions. They're trying to figure out where they are and what makes most sense for them. And all you want these guys to do is you want them to be happy, you want them to be productive, you want them to be able to contribute to whatever the next phase in their life is. Mark is, there's a lot of tough matches that Mark has won with riding guys out. He's really focused on that position in his college career. I can count a couple really big matches here in Rec Hall where he's ridden guys, in the second period, having third period ride-outs, just like gritty ride-outs that are not easy. Now he's throwing a leg in and riding a guy for 2 minutes on his belly, mat returns and just really savvy things. So he's just, again, like I talked about earlier, I think he's the best technician in college wrestling. Penn State Iowa duel is coming up here in a couple of weeks, and it's going to be something I know that a lot of people are going to be exciting to watch. Penn State's won 8 of the last 9 national championships, and Iowa, being as strong of a program as they are, they haven't won a national championship in 10 years.
Since 2010, the only other team to win in the last decade is Ohio State in 2015.
So it's pretty great, So I think that little bit of a rivalry, so to speak, dating back to that handful of 6, 7, 8 years ago, I think will be really renewed this year. There'll be a lot of tough matches, and actually Iowa has a bunch of Pennsylvania guys in their lineup, which will be interesting to see that. So they're wrestling well, and I think it's a good opportunity.
So you got Hall number 1, Michael Kemmerer of Iowa is number 2, Jordan Cutler, Dylan Leidy of Purdue, and Bryce Steyert at Northern Iowa round out your top 5. The really scary thing about the Hawkeyes lineup this year is at any given point when you look at their top 10, they've had all 10 guys ranked in the top 10 at certain points.
They have a good team. They've been kind of building it for a couple of years. Those guys that were freshmen and sophomores that were tough wrestlers, but maybe just around All-American placers or just outside of that are now upperclassmen. They're juniors and seniors. They're obviously led by Spencer Lee at 125, who's just been Obviously, unbelievable wrestler, winning 2 national championships already for Iowa. But obviously, with the expectation to win becomes the expectation to win, and that changes things. So it'll be exciting to see kind of how they can handle that. At this point, I think a lot of people they think Iowa is in the driver's seat. But Penn State's had a lot of success over the years, and there's more than just those 2 teams in the mix. There are a lot of really tough teams right now. Put together good dual meet records, having a lot of success, and good individuals, and that's what it takes. It takes multiple individuals that can win a national championship to be in the mix to win those team trophies, and there's a couple teams out there that have that ability right now.
Hall with another takedown, gets it to 6-1. Riding time already over 2 minutes. They work near the edge. Another team that's right behind, Iowa #1, Penn State #2, and Virginia Tech ranked 16th preseason, now tied for its highest ranking ever at #3.
Virginia Tech's had some really strong dual meet victories so far, wrestling really well. It's interesting here on the edge, so as long as Grello keeps his knee in bounds or still in bounds, so in this situation you kind of want a fresh start, and there it is.
So Virginia Tech at 3rd, Ohio State is 4th. Colin Moore, #1 in the country at 197. Luke Pletcher, #1 at 141. And NC State has a couple of top 5 guys, the Hidley brothers. They'll see Virginia coming up on Friday night.
I mean, I just enjoy, wrestling my entire life, watching wrestling, being around wrestling. I just enjoy when there's watching guys compete, seeing how they're wrestling, seeing how teams are evolving throughout the season, how they're adjusting to changes, because there's constantly changes. Guys that are ranked #1 in the country, if you take all 10 ranked #1 guys in the country at the beginning of the year, those 10, I don't know if there's ever been those 10 guys win the national championship at the end of the year. And you talk about, 10 different teams with 10 different weight classes and all those different guys. There's going to be so much, just things changing throughout the season. So that's why we watch the NCAA tournament. That's why there's going to be 40-some thousand people there going there in Minnesota, is because we want to know. We want to know what's going to happen. We want to see who's going to have an upset, who's going to establish himself as the next young guy that's going to be, coming up through the rankings. So I've said this multiple times, and I just believe that it's harder now to win a national championship than it's ever been. I think guys are more prepared. There's better coaching at a younger level that are preparing guys.
Hall's up 6-1 plus riding time at the end of 2. Big Ten has 9 teams in the top 10 of the coaches poll right now. Last year had 7 teams in the top 10 at NCAA, so Iowa gunning for their first title since 2010. Rutgers will be hosting the championships, and Gable Steveson was set up for a great match today against Mason Paris and did not go.
You hate to see that at this level. I think that it's tough. Who knows what reasons. There's so many different factors that go into it, but as fans, we want to see the best guys wrestle each other. But that's what the Big Tens and that's what the national championships. We're lucky that we're going to see that match probably 2 more times.
Yeah, rematches are a big storyline. If you're an outstanding wrestler in the Big Ten, a guy like Mark Hall, you're going to face your opponent in the duel in the Big Tens, and then potentially in the NCAA tournament. And David, my question to you is, how does that impact strategy and training, knowing that you're going to have to beat a guy multiple times and that there'll be some adjustments along the line?
I think it's a great question, and I think that's just one of the factors that when you decide that you're going to go to a Big Ten school, you know that you're going to have a dual meet, a bunch of dual meets during the season that are going to be tough, and then you're going to wrestle whoever the best guys are. You're probably going to wrestle them in the Big Ten semis, the Big Ten finals, and those guys that you're wrestling in the Big Ten semis, the Big Ten finals, you're probably going to be wrestling in the quarterfinals at the NCAA tournament. And it's just the matter of fact. It's a strong conference. There's a lot of depth, and from a strategy standpoint, you just got to keep trying to build your lead. Got to keep trying to establish yourself as a guy that's going to not someone that wants to wrestle you again.
Riding time point is locked in, so the advantage right now for Hall is 5. And with 3 weight classes to go, like we said, if it was a decision here for Rutgers, not the worst outcome.
That was a nice reshot. Oh.
Grello right now holding the back of his left knee.
tough to see from that angle.
Rather, I should say the right knee for Grello. What kind of stress is the body being put in that type of a position?
So a lot of times when you sit corner there, your posterior corner of your knee, where your LCL is your lateral collateral ligament on the outside of your knee, kind of gets stressed, and sometimes it pops, which is not obviously, it's not really something that you want to have in wrestling, because we're stressed in that position so often, and there's a lot of factors that play in injuries. You know, dehydration being one of the main ones. You know, just if you're not hydrated, your ligaments aren't, you know, sometimes aren't quite as strong and durable as they are during practice, and again, sometimes it's just weird things happen. So, you know, hope for the best here, and it's just maybe a small strain or just, you know, something small.
(6-2) in favor of Mark Hall. The last time they met in dual action, you go back to 2 years ago at the rack. It's a 24-9 victory in favor of Hall. Grello with 23 seconds left. He's going to come off. A valiant effort with an unfortunate finish for Grello.